Is 2010 going to be better than 2009?
In terms of what?
In terms of anything, I think it's all up from
The
here.
answer is yes.
So I'll tell you, at CES, January 2009, because I'll tell you, I don't flinch. I'm absolutely okay with it. My call was the recession was going to end at the end of 9, but we were not actually going to leave it until the end of the second quarter of 10. And I think the problem is still there. I think 10 will be better. I think what we are going to find as well, though, is, and I want to sort of tell you this is really important because we see this probably in the landscape in NWC. You are going to find a lot of your competition not necessarily be homegrown. You will be surprised at the level of technical expertise that is occurring outside of the US.
India and China?
No, not just in China. We're killing it in Eastern Europe. We have companies that are just taking it to the next level.
I still have scars from that, thank you.
China's great, you know, that's all good, but India is there, you know, Eastern Europe, Estonia, oh my gosh, Latvia. There's a lot of stuff that's happening there, and you know, they're looking at it the same way you are, which is we see these opportunities, they're looking at global markets, they love the US because it's a large establishment market, they can dominate it in Europe very quickly. And so I think, you know, if there's going to be a big secular trend for 10, is that the cliched view of the world being flat, I think you will start to see it in entrepreneurship. Right? And watch the Chinese, because I always say, if you follow the Chinese, you can tell where the money's going. And you watch the Chinese companies that while they're looking at because domestic consumption in China is actually relatively low compared to the GDP. You know, it's about 40% versus, you know, the US is 70% and India is 7 and 2/3. What you find is the Chinese, while they still think that the domestic markets are interesting, right, also feel that the only way they can really be truly global companies is to come into the US and own a good portion of the US, right, US market. And so what you're then going to be doing is competing with companies that, I'm not saying this for all companies, but there are companies out of countries where the way they're funded and how they're supported, there's a lot of government intervention that is not very transparent. So you're not competing on the same level, and the ground rules are very different.
What are you thinking of specifically?
Just countries. And
which second or third world country, and the government's got both hands in the pot.
You know, they're just countries, right? And so what you really, I think when you're thinking about it, you know, like I always like to tell folks, you know, sometimes your best market will not be your local market, right? And so, you know, when you're thinking about being an entrepreneur, you know, I think there's probably an opportunity, and I know this might be a little bit hokey, but to start to connect entrepreneurs who may not necessarily live in the same country, right? Or who can sort of combine insights and knowledge and the like to develop some of these products and services that really matter. I'm just throwing that out there because I think we're seeing a lot more of it.
Stu, are you going to be hiring in Latvia?
Is a great one. You know, antivirus company coming out of Eastern Europe, the Czech Republic. You probably have heard of the AVG.
Yeah,
right? Yeah, that's one of ours.
Founded in 1993, sir.
No, it's always much newer.
You know, I'd say one thing that, I mean, very locally that I think is going to get better in 2010. Well, first of all, the Southern California market compared to Silicon Valley is a really tough market to find angel investors. And I hear a lot of entrepreneurs, I'm sure myself, getting started here. There's not a lot of capital for the early stages, unlike Silicon Valley, where most of the wealth has been generated by the tech industry, and a lot of that personal wealth is going back into it. And it's really hard. And I think LA has been especially hard hit in the last year, where people who are feeling rich because of things like real estate, that traditionally like to put some of their money in startup companies, who are suddenly holding on to it, are starting to come back now. People are feeling, I mean,
Well, it was Madoff would get LA really bad. Then, you know, those real estate would get LA really bad.
and it's hard, right? I mean, it always drives me crazy. I mean, you get in a plane to go to Silicon Valley, and you're flying over these beautiful neighborhoods and all this wealth in Los Angeles, yet that wealth is not going into technology. It's going, because it doesn't come from technology. And because of that, it's even more sensitive, I think, than Silicon Valley to fluctuations in the economy. When your personal wealth is in real estate and it feels like it's at risk, you quit investing. And I think that is starting to get better. And we've seen that in some of our really early stage companies. seems like the angels are coming back out of the woodwork again, and my hope would be that we're going to see a lot more of that in 2010.
There you go. 2010 is going to look a lot better, and you can expect a turnaround at the end of the second quarter.